Alicia, what do you think about this moment in time? Are we really now reimagining policing in our communities, demilitarizing policing in our communities? Do Black lives really matter now? Are people seeing that now? Is the majority seeing that now? I mean, we're seeing all sorts of statements from businesses and networks and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, these are all great and important questions. I think I have to start by saying that education has been defunded in our communities for decades. Housing is being defunded in our communities. Healthcare is being defunded in our communities. And frankly, when it comes to communities of color and immigrant communities, we have been defunded. And it is part of the problem that we are facing right now. And so the only thing that is not being defunded in our communities is policing. And so when we talk about, what is possible in this moment, I want us to look at it from a very simple perspective, which is, in cities across the country, people are trying to figure out how to keep schools open. People are trying to figure out how to open hospitals in communities that need them. People are trying to figure out even how to have nurses in hospitals and pay them. We're trying to figure out how to pay teachers. And everybody says we don't know where the money can come from. But where we never ask that question is when it comes to policing. And so fundamentally, I think what we're saying here is that we have a imbalance in terms of our priorities, and we need to get our priorities straight. And it's not just by doing things like funding summer programs for youth. I don't want us to kind of get it to that level, because I actually think that this requires that we rethink what public safety really means. We have to rethink what safety really looks like in our communities. And what we know is safety comes from people being able to live dignified lives. What we know is that crime across the country has actually been going down steadily over the last decade. So we don't actually have a problem where people are just wiling out all over the place, and that is actually the reason that we have bloated police budgets. We have bloated police budgets because the police have some of the most powerful lobbyists in this country who are fighting to keep bloating their budgets at the expense of the things that our communities need to be secure. And so for me, when I look at what's happening across the country, I want to be very, very clear. This is the moment for us to really lean into how do we make America live up to the promise that it has been giving us since this country was founded? How do we make America make good on the check that it has written, right? We need to ensure very much that workers have the things that they need to live well. We need to make sure that families have the things that they need to live well. We need to make sure that our children have schools that are functioning and that have textbooks and that have access to computers and internet. Those are the things that we need to live well. And when we look at where will the money come from, we have to look at how we're distributing money in the first place, and whether or not the way that we're spending our money is actually getting us the things that we are hoping for. We did the largest survey of Black people in America in 155 years through the Black Census Project. And the majority of our respondents not only said that they had had a negative interaction with police in the last 6 months, but they also said that it was important that police be held accountable when they commit crimes in our communities, that nobody should be above the law. And so we need all of it. We need to make sure that police are accountable to the communities that they're supposed to serve, but we also need to make sure that we right-size the scope and scale and role of policing in our communities, not just for policing's sake, but for the sake of making sure that our communities have all of the things that we need to live full and dignified lives. And we actually cannot separate those things from each other.